Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ron, and today we are going to be doing another Deepcore Galactic build guide. This is going to be looking at the Deepcore GK2. This is the Scout's Assault Rifle, and we will be going over two different builds for it and going through each of these categories, explaining what each of them do. Right now I'm using the site karl.gg/build. This is a Deepcore Galactic builder where you can build whatever weapons you'd like, pick whatever perks. You can see exactly what each of the perks do. You can also see whatever overclocks you have with these weapons. And you can see your total damage per second, weak point damage, damage per magazine, and total damage overall, assuming you were able to hit every single shot, which is extremely unlikely, but it's there. So today we're going to be going over the Assault Rifle and what each of these modifications do. So in Tier 1, we have gyro stabilization. This makes it so you completely lose any spread with your assault rifle whatsoever. So right where you point it is exactly where it's going to go. This is a pretty great modification. I really like this one because I really like having pretty much a laser beam when I'm hitting enemies. It makes it so much easier to hit enemies at very long distances and makes it so I can hit enemies in their weak spots much easier if I have this. Our other option here is supercharged feed mechanism, which increases our rate of fire by 2. So now we can shoot 9 rounds per second rather than 2 rounds. Rather than 7 rounds, sorry. Both of these are actually really good. This will give you more damage per second, but this will give you more consistent damage, and I generally go with gyro stabilization for my general purpose build, which is going to be the first one we're looking at. Just not having to make adjustments and not relying on some RNG at longer ranges really helps out with the Scout's Assault Rifle. Makes it feel, quite snappy when you're just trying to get on target and shoot them. So I really like this one. In Tier 2, we have increased caliber rounds. This gives us 2 more direct damage, so we go from 15 damage to 17. Not bad. Or we have expanded ammo bags, which gives us 100 additional ammunition. If you've seen my other guides, you pretty much know that I really like ammunition because I like having better resupply pickups. So I'm pretty much always go with expanded ammo bags right here if I'm going with my general purpose build. It just makes it so I don't have to worry about ammunition as much. Whenever I pick up a resupply, I just get an extra 50 rounds that I wouldn't normally have, and it's just kind of nice. In Tier 3, we have floating barrel. This makes it so we have 50% recoil reduction. We have improved propellant. This gives us 1 more damage per shot. Or we have high capacity magazine, which makes it so we go from a 25 round magazine to a 35 round magazine. This one I honestly switch between fairly frequently, where I either go with high capacity magazine just to have a 35 round magazine so I don't have to be reloading this weapon constantly. It doesn't have a bad reload time or anything like that, but it is a little bit annoying to constantly reload it. Or I go with floating barrel to just have low recoil so my gun isn't really jumping around and it's pretty much pinpoint accurate. I guess for this one, I would recommend floating barrel most of the time, but high capacity magazine is pretty good too. The extra 1 damage from the propellant isn't super necessary. It's kind of nice. It does make it so you can hit certain breakpoints a little bit easier, but the floating barrel I just find a little bit more useful overall. In Tier 4, we have the hollow point bullets. This makes it so we do an additional 20% more damage to enemies' weak points, which is great. We have hardened rounds. This makes it so we have 500% additional armor breaking capacity, so we can punch through enemies that have strong armor, things like Praetorians or guards. Or we go with improved gas system to give us an additional rate of fire. Now with this, I generally go with the hollow point rounds just so that I can do more damage to those weak spots. Since I'm going with such high accuracy, it's very easy for me to hit those weak points. So I can just make the most out of that. And then at Tier 5, we have Battle Frenzy. This makes it so after you kill an enemy, you get 50% increased movement speed for 2.5 seconds. We have Battle Cool, which makes it so after killing an enemy, spread recovery increases by 12.5 times for 1.5 seconds. It pretty much just makes it so if there was any spread, you don't need it. This is kind of not necessary since I'm running with the gyro stabilization anyway. And then we have Stun, which makes it so you have a 30% chance to stun enemies when hitting them in the weak points. Usually I go with Stun with this, just so that I have a much higher chance of hitting enemies in their weak points, keeping them there, and then just keep hitting those weak points so that I can kill them faster and they can't defend themselves. You can also use this if there's large groups of enemies coming towards your teams and just try to stun as many of them as you can. Sometimes I do go with Battle Frenzy though, because having that extra mobility is pretty nice too, since you will likely be moving around a lot with the Scout. It's not entirely necessary because you do have your grappling hook, so you can use that if you can switch between your weapons quick enough. Well, then this perk isn't as useful, but that's kind of a pain to have to keep switching between your assault rifle, your grappling hook, running around. This just makes it a little bit simpler, and makes it so you can get away from certain situations if your grappling hook's like on cooldown. But overall, I usually go with stun. So this is my general purpose build for the assault rifle for the scout. Next, I'm going to go with more of a damaging build where it's just meant to hurt enemies as much as possible. So the next build that I use is just a really high damaging build with scout so that I can do the most amount of damage and damage per second possible. So with this, I go with supercharged feed mechanism, so I get faster rate of fire. You could go with more ammo bags here, and I usually do, but you could also go for more damage if you want to make the most amount of damage and damage per second and damage per shot that you could. Both of these are pretty good. Up next, you could go with improved propellant to give you that little bit more damage, or you could go with a larger magazine. I tend to go with a larger magazine. It just makes the gun feel a little bit more consistent when I'm trying to shoot it really fast. For tier 4, I also go with improved gas system, so I can even have a higher rate of fire, so I can really start shooting this weapon extremely fast. And then for this, I go with battle cool, just so that I can recover from the spread of my assault rifle easier. Since I'm not running the stabilization, this will just make it easier for me to get back on target. This is a better close range build and medium-ish range build for the assault rifle than our first one. Our first one was really made for medium to long range. This is more close to medium range. So if enemies are getting closer, you can spray them down really fast. You'll still have more ammo in your magazine, and you'll still be doing decent damage to them. And then you can get your cooldown from your battle cool so that you don't have tons of spread and your guns start being super inaccurate. So these are my 2 builds for Scout. Hopefully you guys enjoyed these. Hopefully they helped you in some way. Tell me what weapon you would like to see next. I'm planning on doing the secondary weapons, at least the first secondary weapons that everybody gets. So tell me which one of those you would like to see down in the comments below. If you're new here, then be sure that you're subscribed. That way you get notifications whenever I post any of my videos. And I will see all of you guys next time. Till then, stay cool and bye!